the topic of this panel is the strategy after the recent Supreme Court decision. So I'd like to address my next question to Ray Carey from the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. So given all that's occurred in the last year, winning at the ballot 4 times, other states approving marriage equality, the overturn of DOMA, and the implementation of federal benefits, what have you noticed has changed as you travel around the country and talk with people?
Well, you know, in some ways a lot has changed, and nothing's changed depending on who you are and what you care about. Certainly one thing I've noticed going around the country is that people are celebrating, and not just our community. A lot of straight friends and family members are excited that their friends and family members at least now have more choices to get married. So that's certainly happening around the country. It's interesting though, I've also, I think there's, you know, it's kind of like the morning after where you kind of go, oh wait, what happened, right? And so there are a lot of people who are very excited. Certainly a lot of people have been waiting for decades to get married. And we're finding that we have to educate ourselves a lot. Because I was in fact talking with someone about this yesterday. For some of us, we have lived our entire lives without the ability to get married. So some of the choices and discernment around whether or not to get married and why hasn't even been part of our psyche. And so now I think people are very excited, but they're also, we'll do the dance mix version. So reverberate. All right, well hopefully this will continue to work. But so people are having to face these decisions, right? Yes, they want to get married, but they need to look at the implications for their family. And luckily we have a lot of talented legal folks in our community who are helping people think through that. The other thing that's happening, I think, is that, you know, my big worry, and I've been talking about this for a number of years, for those of you who've come to this before, I've spoken about it. My concern has been that people will think we are finished, right? We've got marriage, people get married, all is well. Well, for some people that's true, certainly, depending on their life circumstances. And one of the things that I've been very encouraged by as I've traveled around the country is that a lot of folks in our community are very interested in what's next. Very interested in the fact that there are a multitude of things that marriage doesn't solve for us. And so we've been having a lot of conversations with people around the country about what's important to them, how to get involved, what do we need to be pushing for next. And sometimes, at least as the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, in our kind of politic has found, that has a lot to do with issues that sometimes people don't think of as LGBT issues. So we do spend a lot of time working on immigration reform, we spend a lot of time on voting rights, we spend a lot of time on access to services. These are all issues that are incredibly important to our community, and fortunately people are still talking about it. And finally, you know, I think the other thing, and I'm a parent, so I spend a lot of time with other parents and their kids. One of the interesting generational things that's happening is that actually a lot of these kids thought their friends' parents were already married. Right? And so there's this interesting educational moment about discrimination. Because of course, you know, your friends' parents, you live in a house, you take your kid to school, you have a dog, you do everything that everybody else does. So in these little kids' minds, it's interesting to them and surprising that in fact some of their parents' friends weren't married. So I think that there are opportunities in this moment, and we have absolutely seized on this. Immediately, actually, we did a lot of work preparing for the Supreme Court ruling, no matter what it was, to prepare our community to talk about the range of issues. And there was incredible coordination across LGBT national organizations in particular around ensuring that we take that moment, whatever the Supreme Court said on our 2 marriage cases, and use it to talk about things like the fact that you can get fired from your job if you show up and put a picture of your wedding on your dress, or on your desk. So those are some of the themes that I've been hearing as I've been talking with folks since then.
Great. Thank you, Ray.